Blessings to all, and welcome to another episode of Elevate the Mic. And I'm your host, Max Mupese. Today is a great day because not only is it sunny outside, but we have a guest who goes by the name of Dice B. But even before talking about Dice B, I want you guys to understand he's somebody who is a legend in the city. He has more than 20 years of experience in radio. He's not only a radio host, he's an artist, an MC, a community activist, a husband, and a father. So let us all welcome Dice B. How you feeling, man?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
I'm great, feeling great.
All right.
Great.
Well, you're looking good. Seems like you've been going to the gym.
Hey, doing some extra effort, you know. So how would you say is your 2024 so far?
Oh, I can't complain, man. I really can't complain. I can't complain because there's a lot going on. Unfortunately, we lost a lot of people.
Right.
You know, and it seems to be getting closer and closer. Like, you know, when you were younger, it felt like, you know, everybody dying is old or they far. Like, you know, it's your parents' friends or something. Now it's like people around me. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's feeling a little strange, to say the least.
Got it.
You know, besides that, me personally, hey man, I'm having a good time.
That's what's up.
Life
That's
is
what's
great.
up, you know. And it's good that you still keep that positive spirit and a positive energy despite that, because, you know, life comes with trials and tribulations.
Absolutely.
Just got to accept that.
Comes with it. Yeah, it comes with it.
You know. So you also, speaking of trials and tribulations, you were born in Haiti, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir.
Grew up in St. Leonard.
We moved around a lot.
Okay, got
you
it.
know, but I would say if we're talking about growing up, it was mostly RDP, Rivière des Prairies.
Okay, and how was that? How was that experience?
It was fun. I would say, you know, it was fun. It was different. Learned a lot about myself, I would say. But when I say myself, I mean myself, not my culture,
Right.
but myself. You know, trying to navigate the different cultural differences, and you know, that was kind of difficult because RDP back then was separated, and you know, you had, you know, some people over here, Italians over there. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like it was like that. And I was living where the Italians was.
Okay.
So, you know, I had a couple of friends. let's just put it that way.
Got it.
You know what I mean? But still, you know, I had a good time.
Got it.
Yeah.
What's good is that you also learned to live with different cultures, so you were able to understand certain things from their culture.
Absolutely. Well, that's the thing, though. You know, you learn a lot about other people's culture before you learn about your own. Back then, you know, I could only speak of my experience. I don't want to speak for everybody else, but from my experience, that's what it was. I was learning about other people's experience because back in the days, they were very much talking about integration, which is to me the worst word ever for immigrant or anybody that's coming in. Trying to say you have to integrate means you have to kill yourself, kill who you are, or stop being yourself and be them, whoever that is. You know what I'm saying? And to me, that's a crime, because that's the worst thing you could ever do, because then you get confused. You forget who you are. You have no basis to you know, there's something that says you have to love yourself first before you can love anybody else.
That's
So
it.
if you don't know yourself, you don't love yourself, how are you going to love anybody? You know? You know, I can't appreciate anybody else's culture if I don't understand my own culture. So that was the biggest mistake ever. You know, they kind of changed that a little bit. You know, they don't say it as much.
Right.
You know what I mean? Then again,
It's a little bit more subtle.
I guess it is, you know what I
Right.
mean? And, you know, I guess I'm too old for anybody to tell me to integrate into anything now. But, you know, I don't hear that as much as they used to.
I love that we're on the topic of culture, because I want to ask you, what are some of the earliest memories you have of hip hop in Montreal specifically? If we talk about the French and English, what are some things you saw in the French side, on the French side, and on the English side?
Well, first, I would say when I fell in love with hip hop and when I started, you know, just let's talk about falling in love with it first before doing it, right? It was only English. There was no French. That didn't exist. That didn't exist at all. Like even in France, it didn't exist. You understand?
Shoot.
When I first fell in love with it, you know, because I'm like, you know, I'm a 70s baby. I'm not an 80. I'm a 70s baby. So back then, there was none of that.
Okay.
You know, so growing up, I used to go to New York a lot, you know, because that's what we do. Us as Haitians, we always go to New York to get whatever. You know what I mean? Because we have family over there. Yeah.
Brooklyn area.
Yeah. You already know. Always, you know what I mean? So
Flatbush.
because that's how it is, you know. We were dispatched everywhere,
Right.
you know. I had family in New York, in Brooklyn, as a matter of fact, and so that's where I found hip hop. That's why I fell in love with it, you know, really. And then I had friends of mine, so I would go over there, come back with tapes, you know, and then spread the love, spread the word. And then a friend of mine was like, you know, he started rapping. He was like, yo, you see this? We could do this. And I was already writing poetry. This is how everybody seems to start. You know,
Okay.
like, we write poetry in school, you know, and then
Poetry as love letters to women or to girls, or?
was I writing love letters? I don't think I was doing that.
Okay.
But you know, you would work the words. You
Okay.
Because you know the teachers would give you homework, you know, poetry stuff like that. So yeah, I guess there was some love letters, but I wasn't giving it to anybody. So I would do that,
Right.
and then that would turn into okay. So that's what that's what rap is. So yeah, but back then it was mostly in English. No, not mostly. It was only in English. It wasn't.
Okay.
We couldn't figure. We never thought it was possible, even you know, until we heard people like MC Solar, for example.
Yes.
Until we heard him, which is way later in the 80s, late 80s. You know, his first album and everything. At that point, late 80s, like beginning 90s, very late 80s, because at that point I was already at the radio station.
Okay.
You know? So it's the 90s, because I started my show. I was a part of the show in 91.
Okay. And how did that start? You starting out as a radio host?
It started because I was hosting. I was at the club. I was hosting a club called a night at a club called Safari, which is around here.
Right.
You know, Stanley and Peel and Stanley.
Right.
Now it's something else, Tim Horton or something. So sad. Anyways, so every Sunday I was there, and you know, we're playing hip hop, playing compa. You know, so it was nice, and I was hosting that. I'd been hosting it forever. And then at one point, this man came in, JP.
JPS. JPSO.
Jean-Pierre SO.
Okay.
Right, Jean-Pierre SO. He came in, and then you know he heard me doing my thing, and then we talked at the bar, and then he told me about the radio show, and he invited me to come over. I came and never left. I went to that show and then never left. He gave me a little segment. It was called La Chronique Rebelle de Dice B.
Okay.
Because I was talking trash.
Right.
I was doing my who could I say DJ drama thing, or
Right.
not even the DJ drama, because I just not drama.
K-Slay,
Rest
right.
in peace.
Yes, rest in peace,
Rest in
K-Slay.
peace, K-Slay. But you know, I wouldn't say that because it was a segment. So you know, anyways, I was coming in there and I would talk about what I see and how I felt about things. You know, and I was doing it with no filter, so that was creating a lot of, you know, reaction. You know, and we love that, you know. When you're young, that's what you want.
You stand your ground at the end of the day. You stand for something.
Absolutely. I wasn't lying. But I was saying I was doing it with humor, you know, making fun of people. You know what I'm saying? I was like, why you wear your... Back then, I remember one of my favorites was when, you know, people used to wear their pants inside their socks.
Oh, right,
The
right,
Method
right.
Man, you know what I'm saying? The Wu-Tang was doing that at one point.
Right.
So people started doing that. And I'm like, why are you doing that and wearing dirty sneakers, man? Like, the point is to show the sneakers. The
Right.
sneakers has to be nice, clean.
I was gonna say it's even worse when you have dirty white socks. That's
Oh, son, that's not even, you know. Or worse again was that when people used to wear those contact lenses.
okay.
You're black, you're wearing blue contact lenses, and you don't know how to wear contact lenses, so now your eyes are red with blue. What's going on,
Right.
bro? You know what I mean? So I used to make fun of people like that. That's what I used to
Okay.
do. So, you know, that would create a lot because, you know, it was a wave. I would attack the wave, which I still do till this day. I still attack the waves. I don't like some of the stuff
Right.
that people are doing. Like, yo, why?
So I'm pretty sure most people are eager to watch or you listen to what you have to say after Grammy night, because a lot of people dress a certain way. So you have certain things to
yeah.
say once in a while.
You know, I wasn't too much about what everybody else was doing elsewhere.
Okay.
You know, unless it was affecting us here.
Oh, okay, got
You know, like again, when you were putting your pants in your socks is because you were watching, you know, Method Man, for example. I keep saying Method because I remember he was doing that.
Right.
You know, because you were watching the Americans do it, so you're doing it here, but you don't know why they're doing it. Sagging your pants, you don't know why you're doing that.
Yes.
It's like, if to me, and I tell my kids this all the time, if you're gonna do something, make sure you know why you're doing it. Then because you know why you're doing it, then you could keep doing it if you still think it's cool or it's good, or you'll stop because you know now it's whack. You know, the origin of it is not good. You know, type
Right.
of thing. You know,
It doesn't necessarily represent you whatsoever.
that's not really what you want, or whatever whatever that represents is that what you want to represent. Make sure you know. And you know, a lot of, and it's normal, it's a youth thing. A lot of people do things, they don't know why they're doing it. They don't understand, they don't see the origin, they don't know the origin, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like now we know that you know, the pants sagging thing is a thing, it come from gel, you know what I mean? And it's a signal from gel. You know what I mean? And also, and before gel, it was something from slavery. Like you had no belt. Like, you know, when you know all this, it becomes interesting why you do it. You know, they talk about the how we walk, how we dragging our feet, which is a representation of the chain and the bullet, the chain and the ball that you used to have.
Right,
that would keep your leg from, that keep you from running. So you would drag that. So that's where that little swag that we're using. There's a story behind all that, but when you don't know it, you just do. But when you know it, then you can figure out and you know, say, well, I want to keep that or not.
Right.
You know.
Hey, thank you for educating us, man.
Hey,
Like,
man.
a lot of people need to know that.
It's about sharing, bro.
That's
You know,
it.
each one teach one. I'm all for that.
Best believe. And now, in your 20 plus years of experience, and
30.
30 plus, thank you for
30
correcting.
plus.
30
You
plus.
said that when I got the question. First of all, thank you for sending the question. I never even, you know, I don't care about that.
Right.
Just I'll say whatever, you know what I mean? But that's a 20. 20.
Right.
Me?
Right. That's why I said plus, 20
Yeah,
plus.
yeah,
Right.
smart.
Just so I don't get the incorrect number. So 30 plus years of
Thank you.
experience
Yes.
working as a musician, creative, and also a radio host. What would you say are some of the important lessons that helped you master your skills?
Well, it's me personally, again, because it's a different thing. You know, if we're talking about musician, if we're talking about radio, you know, media,
Right.
it's different. But it's different usually, you know, but for me, it's the same thing. I stay honest with myself first. I don't care about anything else. I don't care about the politics of, no, I'll be honest with myself. So that's why usually when I do interviews at the radio station, the only thing I'll research is your music, in a sense where you'll send me the music and I'll see what it is to have an idea. But the artist himself, nah, I don't care. Just show up and we'll talk. You know what I'm saying? You'll tell me who you are. You'll explain to me what you think, what you do. I'll ask the question that I think somebody listening to you for the first time would ask.
Right.
I'll ask the same questions. So I can't go wrong that way. You know what I mean? You know, you say something, I'm like, why'd you say that?
Right.
And then you have to answer that. Because somebody at home would probably be like, why did you say that? You know what I mean? So that's why I never worried about, you know, writing questions in advance. I never did that. In my 30 plus years, I never did that.
Just one.
We freestyle. We're talking. You know, if I invite you, it's because I'm interested. If I'm not interested, then the you know, interview will be pretty short. But usually people that stay is because they have something to say, and I like what they're saying, and we have something to build on. And when I say I like being challenged. So it doesn't mean I agree. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you have something interesting to say, something we could talk about. You know, and then, you know, that I think people that are listening will find it interesting too.
Got it.
That's usually how I did it. So to get back to your question, that's what I use to do the interviews, and that's also the same thing I use when I do my music. I go inside myself, and then I ask myself, what would somebody want to hear?
Right.
You know, or, you know, what does this music send me as an energy or message? Like I hear the beat, usually I go with the beat. I hear the beat, I'm like, okay. Or, you know, I'll sit there and I'm like, I want to write about this, and then boom, you know, and I let it go. I rarely question myself when it comes to my music, you know. because I'll do it, then I'll ask somebody, yo, check this out, what you think? You know, I'll ask my wife that don't listen to hip hop. I'll be like, so what you think? Because she doesn't listen to hip hop, you know. And then I'll ask my brother who's fully in hip hop with me, and then I compare. You know what I mean? It's okay. You know, that's usually how I do it. I bounce ideas off people.
Amazing. Speaking of your wife not listening to hip hop, I saw a few footages of yourself at the Wu-Tang and Nas concert together, and it looked like you had a ball. You had an amazing time.
Oh my God, I can't even tell you how beautiful that was. Man, I loved it because it was the feeling of seeing these guys. Not the first time I saw them, right? You know, I saw Nas before a long time. It's funny because I saw Nas at the Metropolis, and the opening act, it was one of the first time they came.
Right.
He came, and the opening act was J Electronica.
Oh, you serious?
Didn't know who J Electronica was,
Wow.
so we stayed outside. Bro, we were outside.
Okay.
My wife and I, we showed up. We outside talking to people. So J Electronica. Back then,
Right.
J Electronica sounded like, honestly, like some white boy from I don't know where
Right.
doing I don't know what. You know what I'm saying? J Electronica.
Right.
Electronica. I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. They come to find out. I was like, oh damn it.
Right.
You know what I mean? In the same idea, Talib Kweli came long time ago, and he came with Kanye West.
Okay.
When Kanye was not signed yet, or just got signed, so nobody knew who Kanye was. So you know, Kanye had this big old chain. You know how Kanye always been Kanye, right?
He didn't give he didn't give a F
Yeah, so
whatsoever.
he came and he was, out there. We didn't know who he was, but the energy was great. So how I was, boom, boom, everything. Later on,
Okay.
I kind of knew because we used to read credits, so I knew he was a beat maker. I knew he was a beat maker behind Jay-Z's hits and beat maker behind some of Talib Kweli. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Okay.
but anyways, man.
Sometimes we don't know opportunities we miss, huh? Sometimes we don't
Hey,
know.
man, I'm telling you, we're outside. I still kick myself till this day.
Wow. And I want to ask you this because you also work as a youth worker, right?
Yes.
You work with the youth. And
That's what's paying the bills, because music don't pay the bills.
hey, it's
You
a
do music
different.
because you love it. You don't do it for the money.
Hey,
Trust.
I hope they're taking notes. I hope they're listening because
Trust. KRS-One said that one time. He said if you're doing your music for the money, you're never gonna do great music. You're not gonna do great art, because you're gonna do music. You're gonna do your art to please people, or you're gonna do your art to go with it, whatever's working.
Right.
You're not gonna research. You're not gonna go inside yourself to create. Now I'm paraphrasing because that last part, that's mine. But he did say, if you do music for the money, you're never gonna do great music. So that's what I believe, because I'm from the area where there was no money. We spent money. Trust me. On the Cat Burglar album, the first album, which was in English, which was, here in English was not a good idea.
Right.
But especially back then, we spent close to $100,000.
Are you serious?
Back then, and I'm talking early 2000s, late 90s, 2000s.
before the inflation. That's
Bro, we spent a lot of money. Trying to create, to build something. And the people I was with, they were like, "Yo, no, we're not gonna wait for no grants. We're not going. We're gonna do it ourselves. Let's go." I'm like, all right. But I don't want that kind of bread, bro. Y'all gonna, okay, we'll do it.
And how are some ways you directly impact the youth, whether it's through music or even as a radio host?
Well, because I've been doing hip hop, I've been in the culture, I've been in rap for so long. It's a youth movement, if you want. Even though you grow in it, whatever, but it's still something that speaks to the youth. So I've been around kids all the time. I've always been, the wiser, of the people around me. So that never changed, so it was natural for me. When I'm at the radio station, most of the guys that come in were always younger than me. You know what I'm saying? So it was easy for me to speak to the kids, and I'm a curious person. I want to learn. I want to know. You know what I mean? And what I know, I want to share.
Right.
It's very important that each one thing is very important to me. I'm from that school. I'm a KRS-One guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, teaching is important. So teaching and sharing. And when I say teaching, it's important to understand that I don't mean I know everything, so I'm teaching you everything. Nah, it just means that I learned something, I found out about something, I'm gonna share it with you. Now let's bounce off ideas. You know, if you disagree with what I learned, show me something different. So I grow, because the idea is to grow. You know what I'm saying? What I learned from you will help me build more, and then I could share with somebody else. You know, I learn all the time from the kids I work with, because I'm a youth worker, but I also work in the school. So, you know, in the school, I work with the under 12, you know, it's the sixième année, you know. So, because, you know, the smaller, I can't learn nothing from them. I can, but.
They learn differently, right?
No, that patience.
It's another challenge.
Yeah, man, I got some at home. It's okay.
Right.
Yeah. But the 6 is more interesting, because they build and they got something to bounce off of, you know. It's fun, actually, to see the brain works, you know, it's different. So, yeah, so I do that. But then my job, then I work with the older ones, you know.
Okay.
12 to 20 something, you know.
Right.
So that's a different thing. So I got the small, then I got the, you know, I got all the ranges. And that's normal for me, you know, it's natural, because that's what I always been around, you know. So what I see when I do shows, when I used to do shows a lot with cat burglars, and I used to do shows, you know, even by myself, most of the people in the crowd, they're all younger than me.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So
interesting. And you're able to see how today's hip hop is directly impacting them, like the way they talk,
absolutely,
compared to how it
so
was
much
back
so.
then, right?
I was, you know, when I saw the questions, it made me think about certain things, and one of them was you know how it is. The generation thing is like what they say, every 20 to 30 years,
Yes.
it's a whole different generation of kids. So I've seen a few of those, more or less.
Right.
But in hip hop, it's shorter. It's even faster, right? It's way faster than 30 years in hip hop. I would say maybe 5 to 10 max. You know what I mean? Like the cycle change, and the kids change, and the attitude change, the music, the style changes. So I see it all the time. And you know, technology went so fast, changed so much, and in such a short time in our generation, in our time. Because I'm sure the older generation, it changed for them too, but it felt slower, you know, I think. Our generation is I mean, look at the cell phone. Just look at the cell phone.
Yes.
You know?
I'm glad I had my first cell phone in my late teens, when I hit grade 10 or grade 11. That I'm happy, because before that I was mostly focusing on being outside with my people.
Oh, yeah.
But now you realize how it's creating a certain energy around the people that are actually growing up with cell phones.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I'm from the time where people used to say "va jouer dehors," so go play outside. They didn't want you in the house. They wanted you outside, right? That there used to be commercials. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just the parents that were saying that. It was a commercial. Go play outside. Then stay in now. You know what I mean? Then we got into the stay in, don't go outside. Well,
Punition, punishment, you know?
Right, or then the pandemic happened. Okay, boom, boom, boom. So you're really locked in. And I used to work at a YMCA, and then we used to be like, the idea was not to have them sit in front of a screen. It's to interact. But then, boom, stay home. Stay in front of a screen. Your homework, everything's in front of a screen. So the whole mentality changed, and everything changed. So then we got focused into, okay, you know, I like the movie commercials. You know, when you have the cinema, and they're telling you to close your phone. What do they do? They go, so true, but reverse it. That's what we got. You know what I mean? Now everybody's like this.
Right.
When we used to be like, what a beautiful world we live in. Now we're like, yeah.
Narrow-minded, and it also affects the way you perceive the world. You only look at it from one lens.
Absolutely. Right? I remember, and again, I'll go back to because I was at the reason why I'm talking about the YMCA so much, I was there 12 years, so, you know, it's a big chunk of my working experience, if you want. I remember there was a kid. I tell this story all the time when I talk to my kids, to the students. Right. There was a kid, he told me, he was like, oh, yo, Dice, can you help me? I want to talk to this girl. I don't know how. She sent me this message. You know, I'm like, okay, so what did she say? She said, boom, boom, okay. So I'm helping them, you know. I'm like, yeah, I go into my bag back in the days. Like, yeah. Then I'm like, so what's going to happen next? He's like, I don't know. Okay, so once she answers you and she seems interesting, right, what you going to do? I don't know. I'm like, are you going to call her? Call her? Yeah, take the phone.
That's it.
You have a cell phone, call her. No, I'm not gonna do that. So okay, so you're gonna stay texting or whatever.
Right.
Back then it wasn't even texting. I think it was either Snapchat or one of those things. I'm like, he's like, yeah. He was frozen. He was scared. He didn't know what to do
Okay.
after that part.
Right.
And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Because our game was like, yo, give me your phone number. Like, because my
Directly.
idea is to meet you and get it home. You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes even writing on a paper.
Whatever we're going to do, let's go. Right? Because the idea is to spend time with you.
Yes.
Dude didn't know what to do after that part. And that's a long time ago, like, you know. And I realized, okay, so this is where we at. They don't know what to do next. What's next? Obviously, you know? Same thing with the kids at school. We have a clock. They don't know how to read it. They don't know how to read the time.
Right.
Kids like, oh, what time is it? What time is it? I'm like, you're kidding me. You know, you can't read this? No.
Right.
I'm like, oh my God.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is so the differences that I'm seeing and the struggle that I see those kids are having. It's crazy. I'm not sure where we're going with that.
Right.
To be totally honest with you, I'm not sure.
Based on what I understand, is like we have to learn the detachment part and the art of going back to the basics. Like, hey, fundamentals.
Absolutely.
Writing on
But
papers
it's not
once in a
easy
while.
to do.
Yeah.
It's not easy to do because they're not, you know, because the system is pushing in another direction. You know what I mean? Removing textbooks, removing the pen. You know what I mean? Like, even I'm looking for pens in my house sometimes. You know what I'm saying? It's like, because, you know, I want to draw or something. I'm not writing anymore. I used to write. I used to have books. Like I would walk around with I always had a backpack because in my backpack I had notebooks. I would pull out any, you know, first I wasn't driving then, I was in the bus, pull out my thing, boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? Now it's on my phone. I used to make fun of people doing that.
Right.
Now I'm like, oh yeah, it's easier. And this is what I do all the time too. I spend my time apologizing to people because I used to make fun of them. You know what I'm saying?
Full circle.
I remember I used to make fun of people you know, they want to bring me music and I'm like, yo, burn it, bring me a CD. And at one point they were like, what, guys, I can't find a CD. I'm like, yo, stop playing with me, bring a CD.
That's it.
If you don't have a CD, I don't care. But yo, nah. Until I went to the studio and I asked the engineer, bring me a CD, and dude was like, he was looking for the CD. I'm like, well, what do you mean? I was like, well, there's no, I'm like, well, your laptop, there's no tray.
At all.
I was like, oh, then I had to go on the radio and apologize to everybody.
You took one.
I had to. But see, I don't mind apologizing because I find it funny. You know what I'm saying? And also, at the same time, also to me, it's showing people that you're never too big to apologize if you're wrong. Nothing wrong with that.
That's it.
If I'm wrong, if I was wrong about something, I'm happy to say I was wrong. I say all the time. I used to make fun of Beyonce and them until I went to see her show with my wife. And I saw her 2 hours of that on high heels. I was like, damn. I went back on the radio. I'm sorry.
Not wanting anything from the beehives.
I want no beef.
Right.
But it's mostly, I was like, okay, she is something else. You know what I mean? Like, I used to make fun because, you know, I don't care about the songs that much, you know what I mean? But then when I saw her do that for 2 hours,
Shoot.
high heels, dancing around and whipping her hair up and down, you know.
It's different.
I was like, okay, now, yeah, and because I was comparing that to, other artists who walk around with their songs playing in the background, just walking. You know what I mean? I was like, wait, this woman singing the entire thing with a female band doing a thing for 2 hours on, yo, come on. I never wore high heels, but I understand the concept because my wife complains about them all the time. So I know she's doing that, boom, 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 for 2 hours.
Creating
you
experience.
Just walking around, you know, and your music is playing in the background. You lip singing basically, which was a crime back in my time. Oh my God, you would get booed.
Yeah.
People would throw things at you. People did throw things at people back in the days. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
They don't do that anymore because, you know, things get, you know, pretty crazy.
Yes,
but
yes.
yeah, you would never do that. Lip sync? I mean, even Nelly killed that.
Hey. It's interesting because we talked about how generations have changed, or even times have changed with
Yes.
technology,
Yes.
and we could also compare it to auto-tune, or even how it's so people are so dependent. Well, a lot of artists are dependent on auto-tune, or even machines that are, you know,
I'll let you finish your
manipulated.
question, but I got something to talk about that.
No
to say about
problem.
that. Big time.
Manipulating their approach to music. So, what do you think about that at this very moment?
Listen, again, I told you, right? I learn all the time, right? I get new, epiphany all the time. I had an interview with this dude, BUD. I'll give him a shout out, from Quebec. It's a white guy, white rapper from Quebec. And I love exchanging with different people from different places because it's different experiences,
Yes.
right? I used to trying to be in people's head. That's why I did acting for a bit, because I love, coming out and trying to figure out like how you live, how you, like what's your experience. So he was talking to me, and at one point he said, people nowadays, media and all that nowadays, that praise what they consider hip hop,
Right.
the whole auto-tune vibe, is people that actually don't like rap. And I was like, what? He said, yeah, it's people that don't like rap because.
Oh.
And then when you go into the science of it, and then now I get into me and I go back and I'm like, well, of course, because I remember they used to tell us a group, that there was too much. They didn't want to play rap because it was too much talking. It was too much sounding like it's talking.
Okay.
They wanted that melody, the singing. Then what we used to do, bring a singer for the hook, shorten the verse, right? Instead of a 16, we'll do a 12, and then we'll do hooks.
Okay.
So the song becomes almost half and half, singing and a little bit of rapping. I remember we had a group that had a big song that the radio guy said, well, too much rapping, can you shorten it? The guys were going crazy, like, no, they were mad, they're rapping. And they had a singer on the hook, and the hook was great, boom, 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 The guys were like, because they felt like, we're not here anymore, basically, you shorten our part, right? But that's what the radio wanted. We did that, blew up. The song was playing every radio, like that was the hit of the summer type of thing, right?
Okay.
Then we're like, okay, all right. So when my dude said that, I realized, well, that's what it is. It's long ass hooks. It's hooks now.
Right.
You basically, it's a long ass hook. It's a hook, and then the middle rapping part becomes a melody that could have been a hook. Back in the days, that would have been a hook. That's what it is. So now it's good because it's not rapping anymore. It's singing, basically. Not singing very well. That's why you're using autotune, because I understand autotune is we're in the studio here.
Right.
We know that autotune is a modulator. It's fixing your bad notes. That's why it sounds robotic. Because you're not in the right frequencies, you're not in the right vibes. You know what I'm saying? So it's fixing it. So that's why it sounds like that. So that's what it is. Some people, T-Pain, for example, mastered it.
Right.
And it actually, you have to actually know what you're doing to actually use autotune properly. So I got to give him respect for that.
Right.
Right? At the end of the day, because I tried, because I know music, I can't do it.
It's different, huh?
It doesn't work. Like I'm singing, I'm doing the autotune thing, and it still sounds the same. I'm like, well, what happened to the robot? Well, you're in the right notes. That doesn't work. I'm like, oh, it's like trying not to dance on the beat.
Okay,
know
right.
how hard that is,
right. You gotta have the rhythm. You don't have to forget about the
That
rhythm,
is
basically.
so hard.
Right.
Like I do it for fun. I could do it only for a second and a half. I have to be on the beat. Like that's my. It's like telling my heart to beat the different way. I can't do that. Anyway, so to come back to what I'm saying, when dude said that, he said it's because people don't actually like rap. I remember I had a conversation with, right after that, I was telling everybody, oh my God, because
That's deep.
I discovered something,
pretty
you know what I
deep.
mean? It's like my eyes open, so I'm like, yo, I'm sharing that. And somebody that actually do that, that person was like, it was a girl, she was like, well, nah, rap changes, you have to adapt or it's the evolution. Not wanting to get into something, I let it slide.
Right.
Because that's new information. And before you see, contrary to some people, you get a new information, boom, rebuttal right away without thinking.
Without thinking and
Sounds dumb.
reprocessing.
I don't do that.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I took her thing. Didn't want to clash, first of all, and didn't want to be aggressive about whatever. So I took the idea. Then I went home. As soon as I left, I was like, wait, that doesn't make sense. Because if you say the melodic, the singing thing is the evolution of rap, then what's the evolution of singing?
That's a great
What's
question.
the evolution of of R&B then?
That's a great question.
What are we saying? Because what you were saying is, people don't do the huh, they
Right.
don't do that anymore.
Right.
Of course they don't. So you don't from Sugar Hill Gang flow to Kool Moe Dee to LL Cool J to Rakim to these are all evolution.
That's
what
it.
are we talking about here? And then from that to Pac, Biggie to come on, man.
Completely different.
That's not evolution.
That's it.
To Eminem, you know what I mean? To all these guys, and I'm missing a few in between, right? I'm just giving you names like that, you know. But these are all evolution. But of what? Rap. They're still rapping. All the way to now, if we're talking about somebody like Ransom, you know, those guys that's still beautiful, the Griselda,
Right.
it's still rapping though, and it's still evolution. So you can't say that's the evolution of rap, meaning you can't totally transform or denaturaliser, which is,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know how to say that in English. You know, you can't do that and say that's the evolution. Nah, that's just not what it is. It's like telling me wearing a dress is the evolution of dressing for men.
Right.
Okay, maybe.
Hey, which a lot would argue yes, eh?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Maybe, but we could agree to disagree.
That's it.
You know what I'm
To
saying?
each his own.
Hey, bro. You
We're
know
not
what I'm
doing
saying?
that here for
But
us.
I think that's a great comparison. You know what I mean? You could say that, indeed. And some would want to say that, and some would want to go with that idea. Good for them.
That's
but you
it.
can't actually tell me that that's actually, I don't know. You know
Right.
what
To
I'm saying?
box it in and say
I don't
that's
know.
what it is. And,
I don't
yeah.
know. I don't know.
Got it.
It's even funnier because wearing a dress would be what they were doing back in the days because there has no pants. So I don't know.
I see the I
As
see
I'm
the
saying it is funny.
I see the comical side you bring in here. That's what you were talking about earlier,
That's
right?
what I
I
do.
see what you mean.
That's exactly what
It's
I
fun,
do.
it's
I'm going to be
fun.
as natural as I'm going to be. You know what I'm saying? I contradict myself. I'll, you know, trying to stay logical in my thing. But
Just
yeah,
be.
If the idea comes and it changes, I'll change as I say it. What? There's nothing wrong with it.
You've also said something to the effect that there's a wide gap with when we're speaking about Montreal's hip hop community. There's a wide gap between the OGs and today's generation. Do you
Yes.
feel like there's still that wide gap? And,
Absolutely.
And why is that?
Well, it's because there's two reasons for that. You know, one of those reasons is because some of the, you know, well, the more widespread ideas, because some of the older generation are mad or they're, you know, jealous, whatever. All these ideas because, you know, they didn't make it the way the younger guys are doing it. That's one thing. Maybe, but that's not my case. You know, because of the radio and all that, like I'm still in it so much that it makes no difference to me. I'm still rapping and I'm not gonna stop, so it doesn't matter. You know, that's one. And the other thing is because the other thing is what always happened. The younger generation feels they don't need you. They don't need you. And I realize that even with a radio station, I mean, you know, some of them cats don't show up because they don't need to. They're on the net. I got a friend of mine, you know, with my boy, you know, I love him to death because we did a project together and all that, Saint Sucré. He never does interviews. He doesn't do interviews. We did an album together. The album is called Nuit Blanche, which is the name of my show.
He's an artist also, right? You said-
Yeah, he's a
okay.
rapper. You know, a French rapper.
Shout out to him.
Quebec French rapper with a strong accent, but he kind of sounds like people compare him a lot to West Side Gun.
Okay.
You know, but in French. He's dope. He's super dope.
Interesting.
So, you know, somebody sent me his music and I contacted him, you know, sent him a message saying, yo, your shit is dope. That's what I do. Like, if I like your stuff, I'll just send you a message. And then we talk, and then we ended up doing an album together, right? The album's called Nuit Blanche, which is the name of my show.
Yes.
He never came for an interview. Even on my show.
That came out in 2022, 2023?
Yes, sir.
Right.
2022, 23. He doesn't do performances. He freestyles. We'll be sitting together, we'll freestyle, but he hasn't performed.
Okay.
And he's still doing it. Like, he released albums after albums after albums. Yo, this guy, as I'm sitting right there, he probably released 2 albums already. It's crazy because he can, right? He has a studio in his house. He does the beats himself. Like, that is impossible. We would never, back in my days, nah, no way.
Right.
The equipment was crazy expensive. Going to the studio was like, you know, minimum $100 an hour.
Okay.
And that's when you walk in. You know what I'm saying? You haven't pressed a button yet, right? Mixing, I remember it was the reels. Yo, y'all don't know about this. Y'all don't know about this. Even you guys behind here. You
Even
don't
the
know
90s
about
babies?
this. Y'all don't know nothing about that.
Shoot.
They used to have wheels. They will take the tape,
Right.
put that, take a razor, cut.
Okay.
And that's how they would do the mixing. Bruh. You would sit here, you know how long that would take? And then put scotch tapes. You know, like,
Oh, that's crazy.
I don't know if you know.
That is crazy.
I don't know if you know this. But back in the days, you know, you used to have tapes.
Right,
For
yes.
your Walkman.
Yes.
Walkman. Yeah, okay.
I've had
Oh,
one.
you shake
I've
his
had
head.
one.
All right. When the tape would break,
All
what
right.
would you do? You would take the little tape, try to, you know, open the whole thing.
Right.
Surgery. You would do surgery,
right,
bro.
Right.
That was
Like
surgery.
the cassettes.
Cassette.
Right, yeah.
That's what they were doing with the reels, bro.
Okay.
Big wheels. They would take the same kind of thing, put it on cut it up with a Gillette.
Jeez.
That's how they would do the cuts. You know, if you want to beat the
Yes.
no. Now you pressing buttons.
Right.
Man, we're in a different
Okay. So you could understand also why the quote unquote OGs look at it as, you know, today you guys are spoiled. You're not necessarily putting in the effort like we did back then. So that
everything is a cheat code. That's how some of them feel, right? But at the same time, this is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So to me, if there's a race and you quit,
Right.
can't complain about the kids are running. Why'd you quit? I'm still running.
Oh, he has these kinds of shoes, or they have that, you know.
Bruh, buy them? What are we talking about here, bro? You know what I'm saying? All this is accessible, and
Right.
you have more money than they do because you're working. You have more experience. There's a lot you got that they don't. So keep running. Keep on, because, you know, you can't talk about it if you're not about it, right?
Right.
So I'm in it, I could talk about it all day. We could sit here and argue all day about anything because I'm in the game. If I'm not in the game, what are we talking about?
That's it.
That's what you're going to tell me, and you'll be right. You'll be right. You're going to say, well, you know, you didn't do it. You're right. you can't tell me I didn't do it. I did all that, and I'm still at it. So what are we talking about? You know what I mean?
Great. And have you ever been asked or proposed to be a host of a podcast show, or how
I've
did that
seen
go
that
about? Because I
question.
think you said at one point, if I'm not mistaken, shout outs to him, and rest in peace to Snagashi.
Word.
He gave you
Yes.
a few ideas, if I'm not mistaken, and other people
way
as
back,
well.
Way back. Indeed. Way back. The thing is, I already do a lot. I do a lot already. You know, I can't, there's certain things I have to choose. You know what I'm saying? Like you pick your battles, they say. You have to choose. And the radio is comfortable, to be honest. For me, it's easy, comfortable. Like I tell you, I go there with nothing. I just show up.
Freestyle.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I forget who's going to be here. Like, oh yeah. yeah, come in. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't work. It's easy, right? So that's one. You know, that's the honest part. It's very easy for me. It's comfortable. Call it laziness. Call it whatever you want. It's facts. And then after that, it's like, why would I? You know, it's a formula.
Right.
It works for me. Why would I want to change it, spoil it, do something else that I don't see what's the difference? What's the real difference for me? For me personally, right? Because some would say, well, you know, wider audience or blah, 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 blah. But that doesn't change anything for me.
Right.
Unless we're talking wider audience gonna give me money, gonna get me paid, now we're gonna have a conversation, right? But if we're just gonna talk about fame,
Nah.
bruh, come on, man.
It's
I've
too
been
much
doing
clout.
this for so long. If you don't know me, you know, if you don't know me by now, you would never know.
Right.
Facts. I don't need to anymore. That's see the difference between this is where we got to be careful. I don't need to anymore, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna slack and be whack about it. I still need to be me, right? I'm still gonna be fly. You know what I'm saying? I'm still gonna dress like I'm a young man, even though I'm a young man.
All right.
I'm still gonna do that. I'm still gonna represent myself the way I want to represent myself, but I'm not gonna fight. I'm not doing it for clout. I'm not doing it for fame. I'm not like. There's not a place that I go. I won't find somebody that knows me. Here in Canada, in Quebec. Canada, maybe not. In Quebec, for sure, right? At least I'll find one person.
You've ever had somebody do the ooh ooh when they see you outside?
For sure. Back in the days, more. Now less, but I get I get that all the time everywhere, right? It doesn't matter. Which is another thing. This segue. I got kids at school. And this is one thing I don't understand. How is it possible that you're a rapper, right? You're talking all that drug,
Right.
guns, blah, blah. But then you're taking your kid to school? I take my kids to school. They love me because my kids. They love me so much. They share my music with everybody.
Right. That's important.
I work in the school too. So this is a different thing. This is the next
Okay.
level. I work in the school, right? It's like, it's like comme avoir un casier judiciaire. You know what I mean? Like, my music is basically that. You know what I'm saying? That's my CV, right?
Okay.
So how you gonna be like that, and then you walking, you're taking your kids to school, and then your kids showing you music and your music, you're talking all that.
Hey.
I remember one time at my school, and one of the teacher comes and is like, "I saw your video, huh? What?" And I was like, "What?" I was like, "Well, because it's one of my clips where I'm in Haiti, without a shirt,
Okay.
I'm at the beach." And she's like, "Well, that's what's under all this." You know what I'm saying? I was a little, yeah.
Right.
Thank God for that skin color. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause yeah. But the point is, imagine that. Now take that and be like, yeah, you're talking all that. You know what I'm saying? And you're a teacher to this kid.
Right.
I don't understand that concept.
Yeah. Walking contradiction.
I don't understand that concept. To me, it's crazy. And in that same idea, I was thinking about when I said a question that made me think about that. The reason why I still do music, the reason why I do most of what I still do, the reason why I do it is for my kids. I want them to, one, know me, and no matter what I say, they won't know me as well as my music.
Okay.
My music will speak about what I feel even better than what I could tell them.
Okay.
I don't know if you
Right.
see what
Yes.
what I mean.
Therapeutic. Yes.
To me, that's what it is. It's like writing a book or writing how you call that
Poem or
nah, not a poem. When you write your feelings.
right, a journal.
A
Right.
journal. Yeah,
Right,
I never
right.
did that. But to me, that's what my music is. So that's my legacy. You know what I mean? That's why I still do it. I'm like, well, that's why I do interviews. That's why I do any of the things I do that's visual, whatever, is because when I'm not here anymore, they could go back to that and be like, oh, that's my dad. That's what he was saying. That's what he meant. That's what he meant to people. That's what they'll have that. You know what I mean? Documenting my life. For them. For who else? Who
That's
else?
powerful.
It doesn't matter if anybody, recognize it or not. My kids will.
That's the most important. Got it. I'm asking you a few last questions. So now, when you look at what you've accomplished so far, what would you say is the proudest accomplishment? Because you also were featured on Source magazine at one point, if I'm not mistaken. So could you tell us about your proudest accomplishment?
Well, I would say the Source was dope. The Source was dope because
Yeah, you could let that out, man. If ever you feel like you've never had the flowers given to you, that's the moment you're gonna get all of the flowers deserved. And we're not editing this part whatsoever. It's real as it gets. It's as real as it gets.
well, I guess you're gonna have to talk because I can't talk no more.
Got it. That's aside from you being a father and you working hard for the community, making sure that you're an activist out there, making a difference in a lot of people's lives. So I can't even imagine what else you're going to share with us. And if we have to ask you this last question, looking ahead, what would you want this next generation to remember you for?
I guess I would have to say this right there.
Dope, man. Hey, man, it was a pleasure having you, Dice, man. Thank you for being a big contribution to the city and a big contribution to the culture. And keep on keeping on.
I need a Kleenex.
For real.
Can somebody hook me up? Because y'all
get a
gonna have me,
Kleenex.
you know what I'm saying, crying and not have a Kleenex.
Shoot.
You know what I'm saying?
Kleenex?
Please, hook a brother up, man.
Absolutely. Thank you. Clean.
Thank you, sir.
Pleasure.
I'm just, That don't mean we have to stop. I just said
Absolutely, no.
It's funny. I don't know what that is, but it seems like the older I get, this happened out of nowhere.
It's a heartfelt moment. It's it's pure. It's something you can't necessarily fake.
Nah, you can't fake it.
Can't.
I'm an actor, but I can't fake that.
Right.
I can't fake that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I can't fake that because I can't even control it. You know what I'm saying? No, but that's what I'm saying is like, this happens more and more the older I get. Seems like the emotions are so much stronger. You know?
It's also a sign of appreciation. You're appreciating the moment. You're appreciating everything you have. So it's more of a positive than a negative whatsoever.
Look, I don't see it as a negative.
Yeah.
Well, except when I'm in front of a camera like that, it could be a little embarrassing, or when I'm trying to explain some to
Right.
you know, to people. But I mean, like I told you before, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Like, you know, I don't worry about it too much. You know what I'm saying? Because what am I going to do? I can't control it, so it is what it is.
That's
But
it.
yeah, I mean,
There's strength in vulnerability anyways.
nowadays, I guess. Back in my days, it wasn't.
Nah.
Back in my days,
Have to, you know, keep that frown on your face and, you know, grill
you
me
better
mug.
Walking angry was more like it. You know what I'm saying? Walking emotion was not was pretty frowned on back in my days. Now, I mean, it is what it is. But again, you know, I have nobody to impress anymore. You know what I'm saying? Again, because everything I do is for my kids, so it doesn't matter that, you know, whatever. It is what it is, man.
That's it. I want to make sure we end off with this question.
Yeah.
Because I know you've been doing this for 30 plus years. I have to mention 30 plus years.
Yes,
and
sir.
you've seen a lot of radio hosts come and go.
Yes, sir.
Some have impacted the game, hip hop community specifically. If you had to, we're at the segment right now where we call it if you had to, if you had a chance to. So this segment basically means if you had a chance to invest in one person or another. And by investing in that person, you're still investing in yourself because you'll gain information or gain something out of it, an ROI. If you had a chance to invest in either Funk Flex
Okay.
or Angie Martinez, who would you go with and why?
Invest, because see, I thought you were saying when I first read, I guess I read it wrong.
Right.
Because I thought you meant you know, going with them and doing a stage, like finding.
Right. That too, exactly.
Oh,
Where
okay,
you're
because
spending the whole time.
Nah, I wouldn't. If I would do it just to learn and see the New York vibe, like
Yes.
for the fun of it. But I've been doing it for so long. You could always learn. I'm not going to say nobody can teach me anything. That's the contrary. As a matter of fact, that's what I've been saying for the entire interview.
Right.
You could always learn. So I would be, you know, grateful to learn from anybody. But, you know, it's a different world. They live a different reality from ours.
True.
It doesn't matter how bad we're trying to emulate, you know what I'm saying, their reality, which is not always a good thing. Doesn't matter how much we're trying to emulate what they do.
Right.
It's a whole different reality, you know, that we are not living, and we don't necessarily want to. You know what I'm saying? I thank God every day that I live here.
In Montreal, yes.
Every day, because what they're going through over there, please, on every level.
Yeah.
You know, that'll be political, that'll be the streets, that'll be the music.
Systematic, all of it.
Bruh.
Yeah.
I would not want to go through that. And my wife tells me this all the time. She's like, yo, if you live in this area, that area, you would not be around. And she's right, in a certain way, I guess. So then again, you know, we adapt. So maybe I would figure out a way. But yeah, you know, because I'm too militant, I'm too honest with myself to accept certain things, which would probably cause me enough trouble, which they do here even.
Right.
Because you see, I'll tell you, because you see all the award shows and all the other stuff, you don't see me there like that.
I do not.
Everybody that knows me, but they don't bring me up because they feel I'm trouble. Why? Because I'm honest with myself. I see your bullshit. I see it. You know what I'm saying? I see it.
You're not going to sugarcoat it whatsoever, too.
I might be nice and, you know, understand the politics of where I'm at and not, you know, expose you, but you're scared.
Amazing,
You're scared.
man.
You're like, yo, this guy, man, I don't want to be here.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that's why some, there was one question where, I think what I understood from it is, why do I do certain things that I do, or the whole radio thing.
Right.
I found my bag, and I feel there's room for what I do. I think it's important, it's necessary, so I keep doing that. Now there's room for everybody. You do what you do, but I'll stop trying to, attract people that that I don't speak to, or doesn't gravitate around me. I'm open to everything, right? I'm open to, have this conversation, but I will be me. So what I'm saying is, my show, for example, the radio show, Nuit Blanche, what we do, we play rap, rapping, rapidy rap, people that raps.
That's it. The fundamentals.
I'll play a kid that wants to come to the show and, sing and all that. No disrespect. I appreciate your effort. I appreciate you. Doesn't mean I like your music, but I appreciate you. You understand? I appreciate you want to come through. I appreciate the respect you're giving the show. I appreciate our relationship. Same way I have people in jail, a lot of people in jail calling me.
Yeah.
I have a relationship with people in jail. You're in jail for whatever you did. That's another situation. Doesn't mean I'm done with that. But I appreciate you. You're still a human being. You're still a person of value to someone, and you are to me, because you're calling me already. You're showing me love, so I'll show you love back. That's how I work. Now, that doesn't please everybody. Some people are like, well, why are you giving them platform? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Well, that's none of your business. I'm doing me. I'll do what I feel is just, what I feel is right. That's what I'll do.
Appreciate that. That's
So, yeah.
Hey.
So, to get back to your question about them people, I wouldn't invest in any of them. They don't need my money. They don't need me. They're doing their thing. They should invest in me. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't invest in any of them. But if I had to choose one, I would rather go with Angie. I like better Angie Martinez than Flex. I don't like what Flex is doing. I never was a fan. Even back in the days, I think I don't like his voice.
Got it.
But nowadays, I don't like the way he conducts himself when it comes to hip hop. I don't like his attitude towards rap, because again, I'm a rapidy rap guy. I like bars. I like metaphors. I like levels. I was talking to a kid, and she was talking about love songs, and she was making me listen to a song, and I'm like, the problem with this song, the melody is great, the beat is great, the guys could sing, no problem, but what the hell are they saying?
Right. It's
How many
different.
times you gonna say I love you? And how you could say I love you all the time, but if you're gonna say it, find me something interesting the way you're gonna say it.
True.
I heard that a million times. Can you give me a little,
Hey.
oh, nice. Oh, I didn't think of that. I need that in my life. I need to hear something and say, oh, snap, I wish I wrote that. Oh, man, what an angle he took. That's what I need.
It's different, and man, thank you for sharing all of this information, Dice, and thank you for being so transparent, representing the culture in a meaningful manner. And all I have to say is just keep on keeping on. The difference that you're making today is not going unnoticed, and we appreciate you.
Well, thank you for having me. Yeah, you had me crying on camera.
Hey.
Not cool.
It's gonna be one of the most realest ones, so
Bro, I'm telling
appreciate you, man.
Thank you, sir. I know you for a long time. You won't pay for that.
Hey,
I swear.
it's a wrap. Thank you all. Appreciate it.